for whatever reason, people see you doing that and just sharing it. They want to help out. Of all the like different types of marketing, I think for developers, people like me, maybe the easiest one is to just like talk about what you're doing. It doesn't really take any special knowledge. You don't have to study. You just literally do a thing and then say, hey, I did this thing. I'm thinking about doing this other thing. What do you guys think? And they'll tell you.
Welcome to the Tech Culture Podcast, a podcast about careers, products, and business ideas related to tech. I'm your host, Kaustubh.
I'm your host, Prashant.
Welcome everyone to the podcast. So we are doing this slightly different because we have a guest on a podcast. Yay!
Yeah.
We are here with Eric Turner, the founder of Japan Dev. So Japan Dev is a job board which curates high quality tech jobs in Japan. And he's trying to improve the image of Japan towards foreign tech workers and like tech industry in general. Eric is also building VCList.jp, where you can browse top venture capital firms in Japan. First of all, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for that intro. It's a pretty good rundown of what I'm doing. So thanks.
So one of the very big questions that we wanted to ask you is that you recently quit your full-time job and you started working full-time on Japan Dev as well as some of your other products. So how is your day-to-day life different now? How is it different from when you were working full-time?
Yep. That's a really great question. I mean, it's different in a lot of ways, obviously. I feel like one thing that is like a major difference is the way that I look at my time now. You know, before I feel like it was pretty much prescribed. You know what I mean? When you're working at a company, you're doing basically the same thing every day for 8 hours. You know what's coming, right? You can kind of look ahead and see like, this is what I'm doing this quarter. You know, maybe there'll be some, changes, like you'll switch to a new team, something like that. But it's like probably for the next year or so, you can kind of visualize exactly what your day is going to look like, right? Now, that's really not the case anymore. 2 days can be totally different from one another, right? Like I don't really know what I'm going to be walking into in a given day, right? And I could be jumping between different, like completely different tasks, right? Like I could be doing sales one day and be knee deep in like CSS and like JavaScript the next day trying to fix bugs, right? So I'm an engineer one day, I'm a salesman the next, I'm a marketing person the day after that, right? So there's a lot more variance, I would say. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of the fear of the unknown that kind of enters into it because it's just like a lot less stable and a lot more like, I don't know, what's going to be on the menu today. That's one big thing I would say.
Earlier, you used to have OKRs and daily stand-ups to keep yourself accountable. Now that you're your own boss, how do you keep yourself accountable or how do you keep track of your long-term goals?
Yeah, that's a really good question. First of all, I don't have OKRs anymore. I've simplified a lot of that. I have a to-do list that I try to keep updated, but it's pretty basic at this point since I don't really have to collaborate with anyone else, right? I have a lot more freedom, which is good, but also bad. So, because there's going to be a lot less structure. And if I want to now, I can kind of just slack off and there's not going to be anyone necessarily yelling at me or asking me what I was working on, that kind of thing. So it takes a lot more personal, I guess, motivation. So you need to figure out how to kind of do that. And yeah, I'm still kind of trying to figure it out, to be honest, and find a good medium. I have reverted to a kind of a schedule that I couldn't really have done if I had been working at a company, I don't think. But I'm kind of a night owl. So I think that's actually working well for me. I'll do a lot of my deep work very late at night, like literally like probably 12 a.m. to like 3, 4 a.m. is when I really am, doing the real work. So that's one kind of nice thing about it is I can just focus. And I never really did that, at least when I was working at a company. So it's got pros and cons, I would say.
Are there any specific tools which you absolutely love using?
So I have a to-do list that I try to keep updated in Notion. And that's actually pretty much where I just keep everything at this point. I didn't really understand how to use it at first. It was kind of overwhelming. But now that I'm kind of getting more used to it, I actually really love Notion. And it's kind of amazing the amount of value I'm getting from it because I don't even think I'm paying them any money or anything. But I set up this to-do list that automatically removes stuff after a certain period of time. And that's been actually awesome. And that's something I've kind of always wanted because, if it's on the to-do list for like a month or whatever, for 2 months and you end up not getting to it, then it wasn't really that important, was it? So I've got some little tricks like that. Yeah. And it's like, if it really was important, then I'll think of it again and add it, like re-add it, you know what I mean? So, there's some small efficiency tricks like that I'll use. But yeah, it's pretty much just like waking up, checking out the to-do list, seeing what I'm what I'm willing to kind of get into that day. And in that sense, it's not really that different, to be honest. It's just I don't have the team meetings or anything like that. It's more just I have to kind of figure it out on my own.
So you work on most of the stuff for Japan Dev and other products yourself, like engineering or sales or marketing and everything. So obviously you have worked as an engineer before, so that stuff might be a little bit easier. But what kind of stuff takes you most of the time?
I am an engineer, as you guys are as well. To be honest, like the easiest tasks are the coding tasks, right? And I actually have to watch myself a little bit and make sure that I'm not favoring those too much, just because obviously those are the ones that are the easiest for me. And it's super easy to just jump in and fix a bug or whatever. But it's always a question of like, is this going to be the task that's most valuable for the users? Or is there something else I could do that would be more valuable? A lot of the time that is going to be like marketing and sales, getting more companies on the job board, more jobs, adding like major new features and stuff like that, of course, is good too. But yeah, I have to generally watch myself and make sure that I am getting a good mix and making sure that I'm doing the promotion and the marketing stuff as well, which I find a lot more difficult, but also very important and maybe more valuable a lot of the time. So
since your target audience is mostly also engineers, you don't really have to market it to like a lot generic audience. What activity do you think gives you like the highest ROI? Like, is it marketing? Is it designing or getting new jobs on the board?
In terms of business itself, you mean? Like if I want to like increase my revenue or something like that, that is actually pretty clear cut. There are usually things that I could do. I mean, there's essentially a funnel, right, for any company. And I have one where it's basically, people will come to the site and the goal is to get them to apply to jobs, right? So if there's anything that I can do to kind of make that path more efficient or more benefit driven, so it's more clear why it's in their best interest to apply for jobs or just really like kind of promote them more widely, any of that kind of stuff is what really can move the needle in terms of like actually improving the business and the KPIs and everything. So that is one thing that I definitely think about a lot is like, where are people dropping off in the funnel? How can I make the UX better? Where can I share jobs online to get more people into the funnel in the first place? So yeah, essentially marketing at the end of the day, like marketing, promotion, distribution, those are probably the most impactful things, I would say, which is unfortunate because that's not my background at all. It's what I've had to kind of learn. And that's really been the hardest part for me, I would say.